Shreveport Perkins, Adrian's mayor. Shreveport Mayor Adrian Perkins is here. Hey, Mr. Mayor, welcome back to KEEL. It's been a while. How are you this morning?
I'm good, Robert. How you doing?
Excellent, thank you, sir. You've hit the 100-day in-office milestone. Sum it up for us. How you doing?
Oh, yeah. We're doing good. We're learning every day and getting better. I'm a lot of confidence in my staff and looking forward to accomplishing even more.
Folks would say you stubbed your toe with this insurance mess. Is it still bleeding?
No, I don't think so. We definitely stubbed our toe a bit in the approach. And yeah, we'll correct next time. Like we're gonna make some stumbles. Like it's we're a new administration, but the key part about that is we got to learn from them. We're gonna be better going forward.
Mayor, you pledged we would save money changing insurance carriers, and we would have more minority participation. To the vast majority of folks, we have done neither. Respond to that.
So we do have minority participation now. Our agent of record is a minority, and it was a 12% of the overall insurance for the city. So that is minority participation. We aren't up to our goal with our fair share program of 25%. So we have to get there in the long term. And as far as saving money, we have paid more, but that wasn't because of our change of agent. That's because the change in the market. So if you look at the actual change, you account for the changes in the market, we actually are saving some money in some areas.
How would you have done this differently? We've almost doubled this price tag for this insurance, and we've dropped our coverage. That to me is an astronomical increase, and to many folks listening too.
Yeah. So again, that price tag was because of the change in market. We actually have the letter from AIG who offered this package in the past that said that package is no longer offered and that we have to increase the price. So how I would do it differently is we would go through an RFP, a very competitive RFP, through the process, and I wouldn't have just done in-house evaluations of firms so that it could have been more transparent and we could have seen, if that's actually the best price that the entire market could have offered us.
Mr. Mayor, between the $815 million in coverage we had and the $300 million in coverage we have now, we for a while had $50 million in coverage. Walk us through the process of who suggested that, who signed off on it, who thought it was a good idea, and
who didn't notice something.
And if that figure had not come out in the auditor's report, would we still have 50? Would anybody have ever said anything?
So what happened was my CAO got word that we were sufficiently covered before she could do her due diligence at looking at the actual single occurrence coverage. And let's just make sure that we're clear with Shreveport that there is overall coverage, and we have 815 and have always had 815 overall total insurance coverage and single occurrence coverage. So that $55 million was single occurrence. So if something happens on Monday, we have $55 million for that particular day. So my CAO was told something by a staff member, and she thought we were sufficiently insured, so she started to do due diligence to make sure we were covered. And then we discovered how low it was when the audit report came out, and we immediately moved to get coverage. So now we have $300 million, which is, threefold our highest asset in our city.
The involvement of Rodrell Sykes as an insurance broker for the city now. When that connection came about, was there any discussion, as he is not only related to your campaign, well, he made a donation, but is also, I believe, the first cousin of your campaign manager. Did anybody say this might not look so good?
No, because, in politics, that happened all the time. I think that it became very sensitive knowing that we were changing insurance over 40 years. So there was a lot of things in place that we were moving around. But like I said, in correcting it going forward, because my administration is committed to transparency and doing things the right way. And going forward, we are going to RFP that process to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity to bid. And it's not done in-house. The people of Shreveport wanted something different from the past. So just meeting that standard is not enough for me. Going forward, we will make sure that we put it out for everybody.
The $250,000 service fee that was paid to Frost. I assume that included a commission of sorts for Mr. Sykes. So that is not included in the $900,000 premium, right?
Wait, say that again, Robert?
Okay, we're paying $900,000 per annum now to Frost for $300 million in coverage. Pardon me. The $250,000 service fee in addition that was paid to Frost. What is that for that's not included in that $900,000 premium?
So the service fee is for the services rendered for them going out and getting us that coverage.
And so that's not included.
By the way, that across the board, that happened every time. As a matter of fact, this is one of those areas where we save money because they're actually bundling in costs from that original $900,000, like we suspect our previous insurers could have been doing.
And this is standard procedure for this kind of policy.
Yes.
Mayor, your first 100 days have been rocky with the city council, to say the least. They're now attempting to tie your hands and say you can't sign any contracts above $500,000. What can you as mayor do? I know you're against that measure, by the way, but what can you as mayor do to help improve that relationship with the council going forward?
Just to continue to communicate. I mean, often, we hear council members saying, hey, we didn't know about this or we didn't know about that. I've stressed to them that it's 7 of them and 1 of me, so we can, my communication can't always be 100% with all 7, but just continuing to communicate and just showing good faith efforts on our side, I think on both sides will help our relationship. But, it's definitely not a broken relationship at all. We're just over the first 100 days. Like, we're going to disagree about some things. We're going to be learning what the interests are from both parties. So it's nothing to be too alarmed about.
You sat in this chair next to me before you were elected, and I asked you the first 3 things you were going to do when you got elected. And the one thing you said was ask for the police chief's resignation.
Uh-huh.
You're not able to do that because of the circumstances, right? Where
Yep.
are you on getting a chief? What kind of chief do you want?
So we are going to be announcing the selection committee that's going to be assisting me in getting a chief within the next 2 weeks. The type of chief that I'm looking for is somebody who is going to continue to drive the crime numbers down with our policing efforts, but also who is going to fully embrace community-oriented policing. I think we've already seen a pretty big impact in our community with our police officers actually getting out and getting to know the citizens that they're serving. I hear from citizens all the time how appreciative they are. And don't get me wrong, it's not a flawless organization at all. Community-oriented policing is a cultural shift, but I'm looking for a chief that's going to fully embrace it and, like I said, continue to drive crime down and make people feel safer, not just in the numbers. The
fact that you're going to put together, that you're going to appoint a search committee for a chief of police, am I jumping the gun to say, what does that say about your assessment of Chief Raymond's job?
It has no indication whatsoever on how Chief Raymond has done. I think Chief Raymond has done a great job. But, again, I want to be diligent about this stuff. If anything I've learned in office is to make sure I slow down and rely on the experts around me. And fortunately, we have a lot of, selfless leaders in public safety that want to help out. So that's the reason why I'm convening this selection committee. And we already have the applicants. They're just going to be screening the applicants for me and suggesting their top choices.
The consent decree work that we have to do in our community, that price tag's now gone over $1 billion. There are a lot of concerns about the contract we're going to sign for the overview of that, and that's not being done with transparency, as you say. What can you pledge us today with regard to who's going to handle this work, the largest contract work in our city's history, and for many years to come, I'm sure. Can you tell us about how you're planning to handle that to make sure that it's above board?
Yes. The project manager, the actual engineering firm that is going to be doing the work in the phases that we have to go forward, that's already been selected by an A&E committee. You know about the A&E committee, Aaron.
Yeah, just a smidge.
So, that was removed from my office, and it was a unanimous vote for their project manager. I took their word, and we selected those particular companies. And as far as how we're going to go about negotiations, we're going to bring in outside counsel. We're going to bring in consultants, just like we have in the past. And we're going to make sure, above all, that we are in compliance with the EPA. So the entire process is above board. There's boards that meet. There's boards that review all the files. All the documents will be published. So the entire process will be transparent.
I'm glad you brought up the A&E committee, because the airport had a couple of contracts before the A&E committee. The airport people recommended a firm. The A&E committee accepted that recommendation, sent it on to you, and then you chose another firm. Can you give us your reasoning?
Yeah, I mean, I know these firms. I know the work that they've done, and I want to make sure that we're also being equitable across the board. I want to make sure that various local firms have an opportunity to do work. So it was various considerations for us when we considered changing it up. And I picked a firm that was, all the firms that I picked were in their top 3 selections.
Right.
So all these firms are competent and within the top 3 of those that bid for this work.
You're headed to a flooding meeting this morning. Concerns about the Red River. I know we got to let you go. Are you're keeping track of what's going on there, that front, right?
Yeah, we are, and I'll be there briefly. We got a staff meeting, but my Chief Wolverton will be there to continue doing the work, and just making sure that everybody's alerted on what's going on. And there's the fire department is ready to respond to any emergencies that we could potentially have as well.
Mayor Adrian Perkins, thanks for your time. Don't be a stranger.
I won't, and congratulations to you on 35 years, Aaron.
Thank you,
I
sir.
wanted to say at the beginning, I didn't get to it.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Mayor.